everyone, and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this podcast is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction, coming to you live on Twitch and Facebook. Remember, Monday, 7:30 p.m. Anyway,
and YouTube.
And
Periscope.
And the stuff
whatever that
things,
is.
the things and stuff. But we also have new episodes every Friday on Spotify, audio-wise.
And Apple Podcasts. and Breaker and Overcast and
all the places.
Anywhere you like podcasts.
Give us 5-star reviews. Follow
anywhere.
us. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mom and them. Shoot us some money through anchor.fm/Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Support the brand. And, we always be here for you. You know what I'm saying? But my name is Justin Hammonds. I'm looking at my boy Drew Shellnut.
Most of the time, that's me.
In the fucking flamed up new tracksuit he's rocking over here.
It's good.
It's got the crazy yellow-orange fade situation.
Yeah, it's the red and yellow paisley deal here.
Yeah. And then my boy Grant Bramlett.
Hello.
He's got the laid-back casual tracksuit on today.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm always a little casual. I got the classic little stripe on the side. Nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying?
You got that classic kind of roll tide look going.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You
Speaking of roll tide, man, tough game this past week. We just didn't show up. But cheers to Nate Oates, new basketball coach.
Yeah.
That we've had for the past 2 years. He's a fucking
Clearly
gangster.
he's good.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens next time.
And today,
Can't win them all.
we're repping my boy Brad Sativa in the studio.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
the hat, shot with Brad Sativa, comedian in Nashville. He's dope as fuck. He was on a few of our episodes back in season 1,
Yeah.
the Blackout series. Go
the
check
end of
that
season
out
one, that's right. Yeah.
if you want to know about some Black history and slightly depressing, but also informative. And we
Essentially,
tried to make fun
the beef of what we are.
Yeah.
We went
tried
through
to
in
make
those
it as
Blackout
funny as we
episodes.
could, but it's a very serious subject.
Like for real though.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of what
no,
we do.
I agree. Yeah.
Like we're promoting local artists / debasing the government. So that's okay.
Well, hey, they listening, bro. You can't just be saying shit like that. out in
I'll say
public
what I
like
want to.
But yeah, I don't know if anybody else in the world or the country was aware, but the southeast of the United States, in the past week and a half, we've had almost 18 tornadoes from Tennessee down to Alabama. And then Nashville decided to flood on Saturday, causing 4 deaths. And a lot of rescue workers were out there on the front lines doing a lot of dope shit. Salute to y'all. And, prayers for everybody that went through tragic times. But it was fucking crazy on Saturday. I know y'all had experiences with the hailstorm that happened, just popped up out of nowhere. The first Saturday of spring, we had a hailstorm in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was at work at this pizza joint here in town. And, I was talking to this chick in the back parking lot, whatever, Sarah. Actually, shout out to Sarah. She was on the podcast, too. The women's episode. Go check that out. You know what I'm saying? But I was talking to her in the back parking lot, and I'm like, hey, it looked like it's about to, rain. That rain's coming that they talked about. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to smoke a cigarette real quick. I'm like, okay, cool. You do your thing. And I was like, you might want to go in the keg shed. We had this little tin shed where we keep all the empty kegs at in the back parking lot, right? So we instantly, we go our separate ways. She goes to the awning in front of her restaurant where she works at, and I walk in the back door of Moff's, and literally within 15 seconds, it was like clock, 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 clock. Like hell, going sideways outside. Like the wind was 65 miles an hour. These things are flying sideways. You can't even see out the windows because it's just a white wall of ice and water. And after it's 10 minutes of this, maybe 5-10 minutes of this. And after that, she comes into my office and she's like in the spot of work. She's like, "So go in the keg shed. That's what you wanted me to do? Go in the fucking keg
That's
shed."
what I was about to say. Talking about a tin roof storm. Jesus Christ, guys.
And I thought it was gonna rain. I thought it was gonna be some rain. You got like coverage, but little did I know it was a fucking hailstorm with 65-mile-an-hour winds, and the keg shed that I was speaking of lifted off the ground and shifted 2 feet, and the fucking roof on it peeled back in a 5-minute period. Yeah, bro. Like she probably would have died. Like this shit was fucking crazy, bro.
Straight
Like,
twister.
bro. Like straight up, like mangled, my guy. Like mangled. But
Another cow.
Yeah.
No, I think that's the same one.
that shit was wild. But that was just my little story on the storm. It was crazy.
Yeah, so
Like-
I was trying to get the to put it lightly, fuck out of work. I'm trying to leave work. I've been there all day, and my boss is just like, "Hey, man, can you do this one extra thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." But I think there's a storm coming. He was just like, "Nah, man. I mean, we're in the South. I don't think it's gonna be too bad."
Right.
I'm like, "No, bro. It's because we're in the South. It's gonna be too bad."
Right.
And I get in my car, and it has that Tuscaloosa Erie day green hue to the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so I leave, and I get about a mile down the road, and I have the windshield wipers up on full blast,
Jesus.
and
Yeah,
have
because it was
to
monsooning.
stop. 100% have to just stop in the middle of the road,
Right.
and I still can't see shit.
Right.
Like, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is not good. Following a transfer truck. And if you guys know where First Avenue in downtown is, it curves around and becomes Lebanon Pike. I live off of Lebanon Pike, a little north up towards Donaldson, or east, if you will, technically. And I start following this transfer truck after I've stopped for about 30 seconds. I can't see. So I'm following this transfer truck, and we pull literally from one lane all the way to the other side of the road into a parking lot, back into the road, into another parking lot, back onto the road, so we can avoid the road because it is literally up to my door handles on my car.
Damn.
In water. Oh. So there's smoke coming out. Not good. And I'm driving like, great, wonderful. And then the hell hits.
Right.
So we get to about tire level of water, and then and I feel like I'm in a fucking egg, and people are throwing rocks at me.
Yeah,
And I'm literally about to poop my dupes. It's about to happen. It's coming. I feel it coming. It's like straight up. I've lived in Tuscaloosa my entire life, the rough parts of Tuscaloosa's life, through tornadoes and what have you. This is literally the scariest time that I've driven home. There are power poles snapping as I'm driving by, and I'm like playing like human Frogger with, it's
like action
fucked
movie
up.
shit,
And
bro.
there's a cop in front of me, and he's fucking freaked the fuck out, and he's just like hazard lights. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on. And he finally turns around. I'm like and get around him, and like right in between he and I, when I got past him, power pole falls.
That's crazy.
Blocks the whole road from then on out. I was the last one that
To get
got
through.
through that. In the last 2 days, from Fessler's Lane to about 2 miles, it's been shut down because it's just nothing but
Lord.
power poles laid down.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. That's a really hilly area too. For people not familiar. That's it's intense.
Yeah.
It's like camping.
Yeah. It's fucking intense.
It's fucking intense.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Good times. That's like an Indiana Jones movie moment though. Like you literally like
Mixed with Final Destination.
like calamity
Yeah,
is behind
right.
you and you're just like forging forward.
No,
Like,
you can. Oh, that one's gonna kill me. Oh no, it didn't.
That's insane.
yeah.
Oh, mine is less scary. Hopefully, about it equally as funny. It's pretty fucking funny at the time. So where mine was on Thursday though. That little like
Thursday.
flash hail that came through on Thursday.
The flash.
No, that's what got
one.
me.
Oh, that was you on
That
Thursday.
was me too. Yeah, that
Okay,
was Thursday. It literally happened like 30 seconds.
Right.
Like,
No, yeah. So
But that's when it happened for me too. Yeah, Thursday.
okay, cool.
yeah.
Yeah, time these days, bro. My
Whatever.
days are all off.
Doesn't matter. It's all fake anyways.
Yep.
So we had the meeting, the bar meeting or whatever.
Oh yeah.
You left. I'm working on some stuff, getting ready, taking a slow, easy open for the bar,
Mm-hmm.
And it's right before open. Same situation. The GM Luke was like, "Hey, maybe we should take those umbrellas inside from the picnic area." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's that really creepy green, way too still kind of look of it outside."
Yeah.
Good call. I'm gonna go do that.
You can almost smell the danger.
Yeah.
Like literally, like primal
for real.
shit. Like,
So-
we're not supposed to be outside right now.
I go out like the front door up towards Gallatin, and as I'm walking, it starts to sprinkle a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, here it comes!" And as I get
Bro,
into
that slight sprinkle was so like, oh, it's gonna rain. Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
I was like, "Oh," in my brain, I was like, "Oh, here it comes!" And then it starts. By the time I get, I don't know, 15, 20 feet, it starts to rain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh shit,
yeah.
it's really coming!" And so I start speed walking, kind of hoofing it over down into the little picnic area. And then all of a sudden, it's just this black sideways moving, like just craziness coming my way. And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And in that moment, I don't know why I didn't turn back to the building, but I sprinted towards one of the umbrellas, and in the second I get my hands on the umbrella, it's just like, and so I like rip that thing up, and I'm using it like a shield against the sideways hail. And it's just like, and I'm just like trying to like, forward, and then all of a sudden the wind changes, and I'm about to have a Mary Poppins moment. I felt it like
Straight
pick
up.
me up, and so I unlock it and just cover I totally break down the actual folding part of the umbrella into where it's completely covering my head and shoulders and upper
you go.
back.
There you go.
I can't see a damn thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of just like sideways, like waddling with this thing, and it's just still just like all over me.
That's fucking crazy.
And the second I hit the pavement, I start sprinting, and there's like this little cutaway in the side of the building where the water meter is.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we keep the umbrellas when bad weather's coming through.
Yeah.
And so I just jump up in that, and it's like barely enough space for a human.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like tucked up against it, just like, oh my God. And it's just everywhere, And I look out into the picnic area, and the umbrella that I didn't get to is gone floop. And it's just ping-ponging all along the cars in the used car lot next door. It's just like kink, 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 kink.
That's good shit. That's good shit right there.
And then, like you guys were saying, it was just gone.
It was gone.
It was just done.
It was like,
Bro, the sun was out.
Birds.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like literally like 10 minutes later, the sun was out like
So-
a beautiful spring day. And I was like, what in the
I
fuck
go
is Tennessee?
squishing
bro?
around the back of the
What is
building
Nashville?
into the kitchen, and lo and behold, the 4 people that were there were watching me through the drive-through window the entire time this is going on.
God.
It's
Dying
like
laughing.
I've jumped in a pool, and and I just come sloshing in the back door, just like, woo! That was terrifying. And they're like,
shit.
"Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm all right." And one of them was like, "Take your phone out of your pocket." I'm like, "Oh, right." And I put that on the table, and then everybody just died laughing at me.
Yeah, of course.
Dinner and a show.
I'm okay, but I'm mentally scarred. Like that's for fucking sure. Yeah, my fucking crazy ass chef, when this hailstorm was happening, he decides to just go out the back door and get the biggest piece of ice he can find while the hailstorm is happening for insurance claim in case his car got fucked up. I'm like, bro, like. Now, like while it's happening, bro. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be an after. Right?
It's still
Like,
gonna be there.
Yeah, it's still gonna. It's not gonna fucking melt down that
Not
quick.
98
Bro,
degrees out
he,
here.
He ran out there,
Which,
soaked
by
as
the
fuck.
by, is my favorite band.
Good call.
He's soaked as fuck. He has this piece of ice in his hand. He's just taking pictures of it. Phone wet. Phone dripping like
yeah,
water.
yeah.
He's just taking pictures of it. Then he gets like a ranch packet for like size adjustment in the picture. And we're just sitting there looking at him
What the
like,
hell is wrong with this guy?
bro, what the fuck? He's dripping water everywhere. And we're just all just like, bruh.
Need
the
a
fuck
new
are you
car?
doing? He's like,
Need a
he's
new
like,
car much?
Oh no, this is for insurance claim in case my car gets messed up. And I'm like, you just bought he just bought a new car like 2 months ago. And I'm like, bro, like,
So he's overprotective.
I think you're gonna be all right, bro. I think you're gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're worried about that. I'm worried about motherfuckers that could have died, like legit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Anyway, it was a wild damn day, and then Friday was gorgeous, and
Yeah.
made a lot of money.
Well, the closest thing that I've ever seen to that is
And
like
Saturday was horrible.
yeah,
Saturday
was horrible
was
again.
terrible. When I
Flash
was,
floods.
I think the winter storm of, and if you're from Alabama, you'll know 93.
Oh yeah.
I was living right beside my grandmother, about 100 yards away, in one of her trailers from the 70s, and our power went out, and so we had to go over to my grandmother's house. We're over there, and apparently I'm the only one capable and mobile with a bicycle. So we're in the middle of this winter storm. It's 3 foot of snow.
Yeah.
And it starts hailing, and we kept like 3 or 4 baseball size
Big old
hailstones.
chunks.
So they're like, we're out of something to drink. And instead of turning on the fucking faucet like a normal person, they're like, hey, Drew, how about you get on your bike, drive down the road on this country ass dirt road, about a half a mile, pick up a whole Coke and Sprite hanging off the side of my handlebars
Doing the jiggle wiggle.
on the way back and getting hit in the head by said baseball size. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I'm good. I'm fine. Boom, boom. And I get in there, and I don't know, but I think, you know, I've talked
Might have
in
some
previous
effects.
episodes about like skull concussions. I think those may have had a little bit of to do with it too,
maybe
because
so.
I literally got knocked off my bicycle twice
That's fun.
in a half a mile.
That's fun.
Boom! Oh, what's he doing? Oh, he'll be all right.
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
cool.
the Coca-Cola. He's fine.
He's got the drinks. He's bringing drinks to
Right.
us. He's fine. He's
no,
fine.
they're iced now.
Yeah, they're cold.
Oh my god.
That's good shit.
That's
One of
incredible.
these days, I have to tell y'all the story about getting caught in quicksand on my bike in my new Air Maxes. The shoes never survived.
Wait a minute. I've known you for how long, and you've never once been like, oh, by the way, I have a quicksand story.
So next episode we'll do that. Anyway.
Okay. Okay. I legitimately am waiting with bated breath.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice cliffhanger on the intro.
Yeah,
for
right.
next
Wait.
week.
He said quicksand?
Yeah, shit was crazy. Anyway, we're gonna go into the song of the day.
By the by, if you guys don't know, Justin's from like Brazil.
Apparently.
Shit was wild, bro. Shit was wild, man. Anyway,
Jesus. That's cool.
yeah,
Neat.
Alabama's a wild place.
Yes, it is. It really is.
But yeah, song of the day
Yeah,
brought
this-
to you by Grant Bramlett.
The song of the day of the week here, folks, is Hypnotized by the Tune Yards. It's their new album. The whole thing is very good, by the way. Highly recommend.
Love the Tune Yards, man. The lead chick is pretty fucking dope.
Yeah, she's really
Tell me
awesome.
about
Unfortunate name, Meryl Garbus is the woman's name.
Yeah, that is kind of unfortunate.
But she actually started out with like just a handheld voice recorder and recycled cassette tapes. That's how she recorded
nice.
her first album,
That's
which is
wild.
available. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of like almost like an Anderson .Paak sort of a thing, where like
With
he
his fucking
recorded half of his
MacBook.
first album on a MacBook.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like GarageBand type shit. It's wild.
Obviously, she's from a slightly earlier era. You know, so it's a little more difficult to do cool
Tapes.
shit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
And then her bassist is, I think they're like together, like life partners or whatever, but badass bassist. And I love his bass tone and all of his stuff. But she uses a lot of like Afro-Cuban and world rhythms along with a sort of a augmented and almost like a playfully weird stylized version of like soul and R&B as far as her vocals are concerned. She's got an incredible range, and some of the the runs that she does is very odd on purpose. In like a fun, playful way. But something I thought that was really cool about her and about, you know, just the band in general is her intention to step in front of and ahead of the the conversation of like cultural appropriation when it comes to music, especially because white artists have been stealing from colored artists, if you want to say, forever
and all the time.
Forever.
There's literally no culture without black culture
Exactly, yeah. And you know the fact that she's
in
utilizing,
America, at least,
especially rhythms, man, like the
in the world.
the like the rhythmic composition that she comes up with in her songs are fucking awesome, but it's all in that 12/8, very African, very world music kind of a thing,
For sure.
and it's just put within like a Western frame. With some of the samples that she's using, and then like of course like the note and chord structure of it and everything. But apparently she just stepped right in front of it, saying that this is where this comes from. I respect this. I love this. I wouldn't be anywhere without these influences on me and everything like that. And even went further by attending a 6-month anti-racist workshop at the East Bay Meditation Center. She moved to Oakland, California to like make and release her first album. And she's still in Oakland, California. And then has joined and is, I think, a pretty major mover in the Stand Up for Racial Justice movement or group or whatever, which their little tagline is moving white people to act as part of a multiracial majority, which is just super dope.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wanted to just toss all that out there. If anybody doesn't know about Tune Yarns, go check it out.
Look into my eyes. I know you, honey. Look into my eyes. I see you, honey. Look into my eyes. I know it, honey. Look into my eyes. Quiet, quiet. Look into my eyes. I know you, honey. Look into my eyes. Oh, I feel it, honey. Look into my eyes. Oh, you're hypnotized, hypnotized, hypnotized.
They're dope.
It's all real good.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's refreshing to hear a white artist is actually about the shit that they say that they're about. Because a lot of people just do this shit for clout, and like, you know, for the image. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's like fucking smiling while you're like taking pictures of while you're helping a homeless person type shit. It's like, bro, like,
Look at me.
exactly. Like, come on, just do it out of goodness of your heart. Like, fuck all the clout shit. But anyway.
Chickadee check check, the not so Chinese chicken.
And that, and that as well.
Good Lord.
We're going to slide into episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Episode 3 of season 3, History of Psychology. Ooh, did y'all pick that up? Episode 3 of season 3 of the History of Psychology.
Oh,
Very good.
Bars.
Bars.
So they say bars. That means it rhymed for
Oh,
people.
for the nomenclature they're going out there, guys. That means nomenclature is rhyming.
But yeah, I believe last episode we
Not to be
stopped
confused with
at,
Xanax.
True, very true. We stopped at Aristotle last
Yes,
time,
sir.
I believe, and now we're going to slide more into the modern side of things. I think, right? Something
Not
like that?
really. Basically,
Okay,
just leading into the birth of psychology, like as an actual science, like within the approach of it all. But there's this little dark period that I wanted to cover that I thought was kind of interesting, you know.
Well, I mean, it seems to fit that too, because you had Socrates and then Plato, and then Aristotle, and the spelling of which I can only explain is the Chipotle of philosophers. So yeah, darkness after. I see. Yeah.
Chipotle.
Yeah, very good. Very
Yeah,
good.
I see what you did there.
But so after Aristotle, the world basically decided to say fuck it to philosophy, science, and honestly just common sense.
See, science don't know.
For I don't know, like 2,000 years or so. You know, just a little blip in history.
I mean, it's just a little time.
But I mean, seriously, it wasn't until the 17th century that psychological questions were seriously tackled again.
That's crazy.
During this time, everybody was too busy burning witches or dying of diseases that were obviously just demons, not the fact that the streets were covered in shit or people didn't know how to bathe properly.
Dump their shit out of the windows
Yeah.
and stuff. Before the Africans came up and taught them how to bathe their ass properly.
Right.
It's weird.
Facts. Real talk.
But seriously, the social and religious systems that dominated Western civilization discouraged people from pressing forward, and they were just taking the works of the Greek philosophers to retool it to fit their own belief systems. Why I'm about to spend any time on this is to drive home the fact that certain non-scientific hypotheses about human nature developed during this period, they're still a part of popular thinking today. Like the concept of an out-of-body experience being like a spiritual occurrence, not just DMT firing in the brain because your brain thinks it's dying, which is
The logical response, yeah.
Yeah, the scientific reason for
Yeah.
For sure.
So around this time, as Greece was in decline, philosophers sought solace instead of ultimate truths, distracting themselves with astrology and systems of ethics that would teach them how to live wisely in troubled times. Kind of like Aristotle, we were talking about how he had such a tumultuous life, and he was trying to look for that core belief, to make him feel better. I feel like Greece in its entirety was doing something pretty similar to that, during this time period. This gave us the Epicureans, who thought pleasure is the beginning and the end of the blessed life. So there goes gluttony, public acclaim, the exercise of power, and sexual intercourse. So basically there's a whole group of people that thought that good is bad.
Yeah.
If you enjoy this,
it's bad.
then you're a bad person.
Yeah.
Or if you enjoy too much of anything, then you shouldn't do that ever.
It's like the gluttony of emotions, Kind of.
Yeah, yeah, and of course,
No.
anything in excess is terrible. But to not enjoy anything ever, to not acknowledge the fact that you enjoy doing something, and so you do that to have some pleasure in your life, that just seems absolutely insane to me.
The pursuit of happiness, in a sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, how do you move throughout life with some kind of purpose if you feel like there's no pleasure coming to you?
In your
In
purpose.
any way.
Yeah.
Like, how does it, like, I would just be like, nah,
It's
I'm
batshit
all right.
crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
seriously,
for real.
yeah, no,
Like,
yeah.
according
I
to
totally
that.
agree. Yeah. Or another
Back
group.
asswards.
It is bass backwards. Or another group, the skeptics, who couldn't be sure that our senses correctly report reality, i.e., the most condensed quote from that group of people: "Nothing is certain, not even this."
Probably would have been the guys I would have hanging out with. I don't know.
So basically, they're doubting all thought, which obviously can be dangerous, right? Or I mean, at the very least, or at the most extreme of it, nihilistic in general.
Very nihilistic.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely.
it's sad, really. Or the Stoics, who thought that we can achieve tranquility through control of the emotions. So feeling as little emotion as possible can shield you from suffering. Even desire and pleasure leaves you vulnerable.
So that's like a break from emotion. Like it's almost like what the same thing that was gone and the first thing that you mentioned, except for this one is just about I like essentially being callous to things
Pretty much, yeah.
is the way to go about stuff,
Right.
Which I'm pretty familiar with, but
No, I go through bouts of that myself, but
It's kind of like that
You know.
old man vibe, the older generation of us that don't know how to show affection, so they don't show it at all, and they refuse to.
that's more
even
of like
acknowledge it.
like the greatest generation kind of a vibe. My
Shut down.
grandparents, I got pretty old. Well, all my grandparents have passed away, but the age they would be is quite old.
Yeah, like
and that's
born in like the 1918, 1920s, like 30s type shit.
No,
like that.
100%. Yeah, like my grandmother was. It's a little dark, but the first time we thought she was on her deathbed. She was in the hospital for several days, and we didn't think she was gonna make it. First time that woman ever told me she loved me, and that scared me more than anything.
holy
You
shit!
said what? fuck.
I was like, oh no, she's
over.
actually
She's dying.
Yeah, she's-
Oh no.
She's showing emotion. What the fuck
You
is wrong
guys,
with this woman?
can we sign this paperwork? She said, "I love you."
right. And I mean, hell, we still have that like phrase, right? That's a stoic person.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what the word stoic means, and that's where this came from, you know.
For sure.
For sure.
And to further the thought, God must have free will, and we are all a bit of God. Thus, we possess the power to act freely. This hypothesis is impossible to prove or disprove, but we still hold on to a version of it in our zeitgeist today, which is obviously a huge problem for psychology or just any science in general. You know what I mean? Something that's
I'm a demigod.
impossible to prove is nice to have as like a faith-based system if that's something that someone chooses to believe in, but to have it part of psychology or at the time, of course, philosophy is obviously problematic, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So as Greece is sinking, Rome is on the rise. And as some historians have put it, they were great at infrastructure and war, but not too great at original thought. So they made the logical move of cherry-picking Greek philosophy to adopt into their canon, right? A quote from the book that I've been working off of this whole time. The only real contributions to psychology by Roman citizens were made by a Greek and an Egyptian. The Greek was a man named Galen, who mostly bungled shit by running with the four humors theory. That's total crap. Like, what is it? It's bile. I can't remember what the humors are. You know what I'm talking about? It's a super old school thing. Like when leeching was really popular at that time period.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not well versed. Go ahead and say that. Yeah.
But something that this Greek Galen discovered was that a female patient's pulse increased when someone mentioned a particular male dancer. He conducted an experiment with various male dancers that did nothing for her, but the first one would cause her pulse to increase again.
Oh, silly Enrique.
Thus, the ailment was identified as love sickness.
You mean physical attraction?
Yeah.
Lust.
Right. Right. Which we now know is a psychosomatic response. The Egyptian Plotinus contributed in a more broadly negative way, in that his theories on the relation of mind, body, and soul would become part of the Christian doctrine that constrained psychology until the rebirth of science 14 centuries later.
Just a little bit of time. Just a little bit.
Yeah. So from there, we enter a massive era of primarily Christians, handpicking aspects of philosophy that support their belief systems and energetically attacking any ideas that were incompatible with it. Meaning that instead of being forgotten or pushed to the side, it was intentionally warped, leaving us with a lot of those ideas today.
Just like the books of the Bible.
Yeah. I mean, honestly. You know?
I'm not taking a shot. I'm just being like, for real.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's almost like, you know, as a kid, I read the Bible 2 or 3 times. You know, my father was a preacher. I was being, you know, primed to be that as well.
Right.
But I always had this like, this just seems too coincidentally like put here. But yeah.
Yeah.
I digress.
A man named Tertullian is a good example. He coined the maxim, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church."
Hey, so Tertullian, was he turtle enough for the Turtle Club?
Was he dirty enough for the Turtle Club? Turtle.
Why do I do this with you guys?
My boy Tertullian. He's sneaky. He's sneaky trying to
Very
sneak in the
sneaky.
Turtle Club.
Very sneaky.
Hey, Tertullian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what he did. I see what he did. That's cool. That's cool.
Damn it.
Slow, but just fast enough. You know?
Yeah, just like, I'm just here for comedic relief.
No, that's
guys.
great.
Jesus.
He relished in fantasies of the suffering of pagans that they would undergo after death, right? Here's a quote of his. "That last eternal day of judgment will come when all this old world and its generations shall be consumed in one fire. How vast the spectacle will be on that day. How I shall marvel, laugh, rejoice, and exult seeing so many kings supposedly received into heaven, groaning in the depths of darkness, and the magistrates who persecuted the name of Jesus melting in fiercer flames than ever they kindled against the Christians, and sages and philosophers blushing before their disciples as they blazed together.
So he had a lot of love in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
see,
That was a philosopher.
that's fucking
the time.
Are you sure he didn't start white supremacy?
Yeah, right.
Because
fucking intense.
And I mean, yes, like people of different religious or theological belief systems are usually at odds with each other, especially that long ago. And I do know that, like, when the Christians first were coming around, the pagans were not happy with it at all, especially in Rome. And it makes sense that they would be angry. But dude, man, kind of missed the point of Jesus.
yeah,
Straight
yeah,
up, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Also, the thing
Jesus
is,
was
like,
still fresh at this
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not like they forgot what the guy stood for.
he still had
you know?
pumice on his underarms.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, the Book of Revelations itself is like some pagan type shit anyway. to
that's
be
true.
honest.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it
I mean,
was
Yeah,
kinda,
it's
Yeah.
the derivative of
Yeah, exactly.
You
It's
know.
like,
Right.
bro, it's just, anyway.
Yeah.
Like you say, I digress.
I digress.
Yeah. He also hated his and any woman's sexual desires, having profound effects on the sexuality and emotions of believers for 1,800 years, and not unpacked until Freud began his practice of psychoanalysis.
Yeah.
And
That's crazy.
a long time after this.
It's a long time. Like long
Yeah.
time. Like,
We're actually going to do
unfathomable amount of time.
Yeah.
a full episode on Freud. He's a really interesting guy. I'm pretty on the fence about the dude, and
Most
which is
people are. Bro.
odd. Well, no, most people either love the guy or fucking hate the guy.
Nah,
This is
That's
like
crazy.
with
It's
that,
one or the
that
other.
like really good guitarist
you.
plays like Pink Floyd.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the one.
Cool.
Nice.
When Justin gives me that look, I know it's bullshit. He's just like,
I like where you went
I'm
there.
not even gonna dignify that with a response. I'm just gonna go, this guy.
Yeah, we did that. Hey, it was a long walk. You got there. If you got that one, cheers to you.
A
people.
long walk for some really low-hanging fruit.
That's what it is, man. I mean, I'm still thinking about Tertullian because I hope he's enjoying the Turtle Club.
So
Or the burritos.
you also have people like St. Augustine and St. Thomas Aquinas, who we probably have heard of.
Is it
They took
Aquapenis?
concepts like these and ran even further to basically the doctrine of logic as being a threat to faith, right? And as a child, I'm just going to plow right through it, okay? You're over here making your silly jokes, and I'm trying to teach you something.
He said Aquinas, and I thought Aquapenis instantly. I don't know why.
It's like a,
anyway.
it's like a well.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Anyway.
I'm fucking up the facts. Drop the hot facts. Okay.
Wish you guys would have chimed in more last week when I was fucking bumbling around.
So, like I said, they basically that the doctrine of logic is a direct threat to faith, you know, which makes me think of Sunday school when I'm an inquisitive child saying, that doesn't make sense. And then they say, shut up.
They're like, shut up.
Color your picture.
Dude lived in a well. Shut up.
Yeah.
Literally. No, he didn't. Yeah, he did. All right.
Any aspect of greater thought, like the mystery of the Holy Trinity, or why we think of our existence, can't be known through reasoning. So people accepting this train of thought came to the conclusions that people seeking answers outside of these maxims were witches or doing the devil's work, or people suffering delusions or ailed with aspects of psychosis were simply possessed and needed an exorcism.
Not in need of mental health at all. You know, just,
No, they
just psychos and
needed
like
to be
demons.
tied to
Yeah.
a bed and water splashed on them. You know,
I'm just looking for, greater understanding.
yeah, right.
Pretty much.
But thankfully, the Renaissance and the printing press actually pushed us forward to a group known as the proto-psychologists, who we're going to be kind of talking about.
Okay.
If you guys didn't pick that up. You know?
Yeah. I didn't think we were going to. I thought we were going to stop there.
I walked in here like, oh, yeah. Proto-psychologist.
All right, we out. So, city life, the expansion of trade, thus the sharing of ideas, and almost more importantly, the availability of those ideas, birthed the new learning, I used air quotes, by the way, of science. They thought they invented it.
Oh, wow. How hot? It's been that long that they thought they just made some new shit up.
Yeah, so, I mean, for real. Like the Dark Ages, which was season 1, episode 1 for us,
Yeah.
Bats and rants.
And also the, not only the Dark Ages, but a lot of the earlier shit was not well documented in the first place.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and a lot of stuff was intentionally destroyed. Yeah. And a lot of people that weren't directly involved with the church were illiterate, and they wanted it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you control the masses. I mean, you don't give them knowledge. Yep. The only thing they got is the knowledge you give them. I mean,
right.
Anyway.
Exactly.
What does that say? It says this. What does it actually say? Nothing of the sort.
Yeah, exactly.
Although it did get that name that we still use today, to be fair. They did actually call it science. That was the first time it was called science. But that approach has been around forever.
For sure.
Since before Egypt, know.
Yeah. Because it's science.
Right. Descartes is a super important dude in this time for founding rationalist philosophy. He even came up with the fact that the Earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around. But he decided to leave that little nugget out of a book he was writing because Galileo published his first and was condemned by the Inquisition.
Oh, yeah. That'll help out.
That's
good little push there.
Yeah, homie was
nope.
like...
Nope.
He was a philosopher, but he was also like way into geometry and astrology.
Yeah.
And not astrology, the better one, astronomy.
Astronomy.
Yeah. And he was like, huh. That's cool. I'm pretty sure we're going around the sun. I'm going to put that in my book. That seems important. Yeah. And then Galileo does his thing. He's like, oh, shit. Never mind.
Nope. I'm going to edit that out, my guy.
Tink. Yeah. Chisel that one out. Yeah.
I think I like my life how it is.
Yeah. So he also doubted his senses due to the fact that he can make reasoning errors in geometry and reason that the mind and body are separate in a sense but have an effect on one another. And speculated that the fluid filling the ventricles or cavities of the brain, or as we know now as the cerebrospinal fluid, was like a purified blood. That's what he thought it was. That allowed us to think. So kind of like blood going through your veins, blood going through your head veins is how we thought, which
my head movies
kind of neat in that he was wrong, but he got pretty close to some truth there.
I mean, without physical evidence or any kind of like spiritual anything, like that's pretty fucking spot on. You know,
without the tools of like modern times, they did a pretty good damn job. I'd say.
A fun one though is that he thought that the pineal gland was the soul. It's a little tiny gland that's up underneath, sort of the bottom part of your brain there. Which, of course, is crazy wrong. The pineal gland produces melatonin and influences vision and sleep.
Which, I mean, I could see how that would be perceived as the soul anyway, because, I mean, like, when you're asleep, you're dreaming, you're seeing things that your subconscious brings to you that you would never see, you know?
Right.
So. Yeah, bro. Woke up from a dream the other day. I was like, I'm obviously not over that situation in my actual brain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk a lot about when we cover Freud.
Yeah.
But his theory that mind and body are separate entities affecting one another is a good starting point for further research, right? And it still holds, but it still holds us back to this day in some aspects. His followers had lost a lot of time and thought on how something immaterial can occupy a space like the pineal gland.
Yeah.
So basically, they spent a whole bunch of time trying to figure out in like a biological way how to see something like a soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this like intangible entity.
Yeah.
They're like trying to cut up this little tiny thing. A bit.
Like, it's tangible. It's right there.
It's in there somewhere. I know
We're going to find it, I promise, you know. Kind of like the lost city of gold or something, you know.
Right.
The English came up with the concept of empirical thinking, or simply within psychology, ideas are derived from experience. and proposed more earthly explanations of human mental activities and behavior. Thomas Hobbes was a big one in that. Within this line of thought, he boldly declared that the soul is only a metaphor for life, and that, quote, all talk of the soul as an incorporeal substance is a vain philosophy and pernicious Aristotelian nonsense, and of course was labeled an atheist that should be burnt.
Yeah, of course. So you use a lot of words I don't know. Right, nope.
We gonna burn
We
you.
gonna burn your ass, boy.
Now they understood him and hated him for it.
Straight up.
Funny enough, he was buddies with Galileo, who inspired him to reason that mental activities must be motions of atoms in the nervous system, and that the brain is reacting to motions of atoms in the external world, which is pretty fucking spot on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Really groundbreaking shit, and pretty close to what we think today, like I just said. So basically, Newton's first law of motion can explain how sensory impressions become imagination, memory, and general knowledge. This also eventually births the notion of association, leading to experimental psychology in the 19th century and behaviorism in the 20th century. Yeah. Thomas Hobbes was a cool fucking dude.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Who was just barely escaped being burned, by the way. He had some pretty powerful friends, so they managed to kind of buy his way out, and then he just sort of hid for the rest of his life. Pretty much, yeah. Another name that a lot of us recognize is John Locke, who rejected innate ideas and insisted that the soul was unknowable, and spent a lot of time on how the mind comes to knowledge. He also conducted a famous experiment. After putting one hand in a basin of hot water and the other in a basin of cold water, he moved both to a basin of tepid water, which felt cold to one and hot to the other, leading to the conclusion that our perception of something is subjective. He coined association, telling of a friend who had surgery, keeping in mind that anesthetics were not a thing at the time, who couldn't look at that surgeon without feeling immense pain.
Yeah.
He also told of a dude who learned a complicated dance with a trunk in the room, who could apparently only perform that dance in a room with a similar trunk thereafter.
Interesting.
Which, if that's a real anecdote, is kind of hilarious. And Big Man's kind of a shitty dancer.
Yeah.
But
the mind is a hell of a drug.
yeah, right. But the important thing within that is the fact that he's noticing and pointing out those aspects of association to other people around, other doctors and, would-be psychologists if it was a different time period, which wasn't really all that well known, but kind of immediately explained a lot to a lot of people. So I thought that was really fucking cool.
It's pretty wild.
There's some other Brits that contributed heavily around this time, but we just don't have the time to cover everybody.
Yeah, we can't cover everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be here all night. We don't have that type of time.
I gotta wake up and make jumbo in the morning.
Yeah.
But we will move over to Germany. So the Germans around this time, Germans have kind of always been our opinion of Germans.
Yeah.
Very rigid.
Yeah.
Very structured, and they just have such a mechanic kind of view, way of approaching things.
Yeah.
I mean, they make hella difficult cars to work on. I'll tell you that.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Amazing
suck.
cars, but
Man.
But if
my
you need
car's
work
a
on
fucking
them,
headache, bro.
you pull the little volume knob off and the whole thing falls apart. I feel like.
right?
You have to take the whole undercarriage of my car off to change the oil.
Jesus.
I know,
It's
right?
fucking crazy. Anyway.
So one of those guys, Immanuel Kant, who's considered by many the greatest of the modern philosophers. He's a tough dude to understand for some, and he thought he had it figured out, literally. From the preface of one of his most famous works, The Critique of Pure Reason, he said, "I venture to assert there is not a single metaphysical problem that has not been solved here, or to the solution of which the key at least has not been supplied." So in the intro to his book, he said, I have figured out all the answers.
Everything.
I'm about to tell you all the answers. And if it's not
fucking crazy.
clearly enough laid out for you, here's at least a key
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
the answer.
You gotta go find the door where this key works at. It's like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's like the key to life is 41.
No.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just 41. That's the answer to everything.
But honestly, like if you're curious about like this kind of era of like psychology, again, the Critique of Pure Reason by Kant is like something that you should definitely read. But he came up within that the notion that we acquire knowledge by recognizing the relations of objects and events in space and time, not through inherent capability, i.e., intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Or another way of looking at it, we're not just born as a blank piece of paper that gets filled as we grow. We naturally put things into context along the way. If we lacked the ability to perceive cause and effect, we shouldn't understand a lot about the world around us.
Right.
And that makes sense. I mean, especially if we're speaking from like an evolutionary standpoint. You know what I mean?
sure.
Like we
Experience.
wouldn't be here anymore if we didn't know that that big cat over there is bad.
Yeah.
Fire hot.
Right off the cuff,
When
we
cold.
knew
Yeah.
that be bad.
He eating me. Yeah. I know eating him. He eating me. Go hide in cave now. Thank you.
Exactly.
You know?
He can run faster. He has 2 more legs.
Right?
Let's just be real. Like shit.
Now, again, this is just a massive, like brief overview of this whole era that is I've skipped hundreds of years, literally.
Yeah. Centuries.
And again, there's some really, really cool dudes like Hobbes, Locke, Kant. I think those are really important guys if, this is something that tickles your fancy. But what we get into next week is the true beginning of psychology. A real science, right? Dependent on experimentation of a hypothesis, not conjecture, often based around a theology or a limited understanding of our existence in the universe. And for the record, I'm not trying to bash on anybody's beliefs. But I am saying that a faith-based system can often slow down the progress of mankind. We've seen countless examples of this in history.
Oh, yes, for sure.
And we're going to see many, many more.
All the wars that have ever been fought.
I mean, yeah, seriously. It's either over...
It either slows down or it restarts shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like getting so far and then everything's fucked. Like the Dark Ages. And then you gotta fucking basically restart cognitive fucking thinking because they've been brainwashed across the fucking world.
Yeah.
On the fucking Crusades, Spanish Inquisition, all that shit, bro.
I mean, Drew, you're absolutely right. I mean, like, all wars ever have been fought over their version of who's up in the sky or an imaginary line. in
My
the
dad
sand,
can beat up
you know?
your dad.
Pretty much.
Proverbial,
Yeah.
my dad can beat up your dad. But I kneel de grace.
Very good. Very good. Drew.
Nice. Nice. That was good shit. That was good shit. I dig it. Well, yeah, man. Intro to history of psychology, I guess. Huh?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like the pre...
Baby steps.
Yeah, the bridge in between
Yeah.
the Aristotles and the Platos of the world into the Freuds and people of the world.
So if anybody didn't know by this point, Justin was the one that was really harping on this season's topic. He was like, look, I know a lot about
I've
psychology.
made the most.
I know
He's
all,
done all the research.
I know
The
all of
most.
the
So
psychologists.
that's why I
you know,
kind of like last
Freud
week I was mumble
and the
bumbling.
other ones.
Yeah. Freud and the other ones, all the peoples. You know,
The other ones, duh.
I mean, yeah, you know.
Fucking get your
people.
shit straight, man. The other ones, duh.
You mean you don't know? Because I totally know. But
Because when I was in college, there was Freud and the other ones. So
But I tell you the funny thing about when I was in college. I had the history of music, like the music appreciation class in college because of the bullshit class.
Yeah.
So
We used to make fun of y'all.
yeah, it's
In
this-
music school.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, look at these dumbasses going to learn about shit they should already know.
Yeah.
So the first couple weeks, like they're talking about like Bach and Mozart and shit.
yeah.
And a blur of college for like 2 months.
Yeah.
I come back in, they're talking about Hendrix and the Beatles, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, how many? Hey, how long y'all been coming to class?
Just flipping through the syllabus. Like, what?
Yeah, like
A lot. I missed a lot.
Okay.
So I missed the midterm. Oh, I missed the midterms. Oh, word, that's real. Dropped that class. That was a nice W. Anyway, I'm Justin Hammonds, and I'm saying love, live life, because it's worth living, y'all.
And I'm Drew Shellnut, and I'm saying be kind, stay informed, and make a motherfucking difference.
And I'm Grant Bramlett, and I'm saying, give us money. Give it to us.
Now! Now, money, wow!
For real, though, we would love a little bit of support if anybody's willing to give that to us.
Of course, of course.
We also just love some listens and comments and
Give them a
feedback.
little bit of cash out.
Follow
Hit us
us
with a little bit of cash out.
Follow us on Spotify, 5-star reviewers, so we get that front page viewership. Got that nice new logo. Shouts out to Brendan Shea, the homie. And also, Drew is staring at the camera very aggressively now. Anyway, hope you're enjoying this season about psychology. It's going to get really cool here in a few weeks when we get into, like, you know, the psychology of gender and, like, sex roles and serial killers and all this. We got a bunch
Is that
of
like
things.
a Swiss roll, but with sex?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I like it.
We got a lot of
Also
things,
like
a lot of
pinwheels.
subjects coming up in psychology. We're just giving you the beginning of it.
I loved those.
Shut up, Drew.
We're giving you the bread. Now we're about to put the sauce on.
I don't like
You know what I
bread.
mean? A little cheese.
I like
A
meat.
little lettuce, a little tomato. A little meat. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll put the
Little oil
other
and
piece of
vinegar.
bread. Then we get the other piece of bread.
We can
Do
that.
the same.
We can do that.
We're
We can do the
we'll
same.
Do the same.
So it's gonna be double.
sandwich.
Oh, snap.
Hey,
Scooby-Doo sandwich.
we might even put another slice of bread in between that motherfucker.
Okay.
Now you got a
Now
double decker of knowledge and fun. You feel me?
Let's start a club
Double down.
for a sandwich like that. What do you say?
Hey, I am. You know what? It would be a nice sandwich club. It would be. All right. We need to. I'm good for today. We love y'all. This has been a podcast
No, we
called
don't.
Friends, Facts, and Fiction. We out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next installment. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on all things Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends_facts_fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we'll correct any errors we may have made. Your hosts and researchers are Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut. Our episodes are produced by Grant Bramlett. Additional producership provided by Grace Higgs. Our recording engineer is Grant Bramlett. Our editor, mix, and mastering audio engineer is Jeremy Mulder. Lighting design is provided by Justin Hammonds. Our office assistants are Gully and Bull. Our research assistants are Under and Paid. Our current interns are Lost and Questionable. Our personal drivers are Titleist and Tired. And our resident pooches are Pack and Jolene, the Devil Child. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.